Back again. Okay, water signs, your new moon read. Let's see what's coming through for you guys. I keep forgetting to rotate my device so that you can get the full screen. Okay, now, a lot of you who are new, welcome. But those of you who are long-time subscribers, hello again. Now, if you haven't looked at the aspects of the astrology, please do go ahead and research it. There is a lot of changes going on where it's going to directly impact us. Now, although we're moving into a Venus retrograde cycle, the new moon is really going to bring up some heightened intuitions when it comes to, gee, you know, what do we need to do? What do we want to do? What's going to make us happy? This is a very one could say it's similar to a lunar eclipse. Now, we have had quite a few this year, including a lot of retrograde planets at a large scale this year. So it has been a very heavy year. Now, it is moving through to 2020. So this is going to impact us for almost a life cycle of 20 to 30 years. So a lot of the decisions we're making is moving us into our authentic self. A lot of us might have a bit of shadow energy coming through connected to who we are personally, and what we want out of the bigger picture in our life. Hello, everyone. Now, when it comes down to making decisions around this time, obviously, for those of you who are more experienced connected to Venus retrograde, we know that, you know, it's like we're moving into a candy shop and we're going, wow, you know, what would I like? What do I want? What's relevant for me right now? A lot of your meditation can be connected to what has transpired and, you know, what you've learnt about it. It can be heightened things coming up from the 25th onwards that is going to be setting the tone as to what's going to be purged. Scorpio. And what way we want to go from here. Now, during, how do I put it? During the retrograde of Venus, you are going to find that you are going to gain the clarity of what you want to do. Now, much of us are going to have this kind of turning point where we need to out without others actually directly having any input connected to it. Now, you know, although we would love the information at hand, many of us might have direct communication. Many of us are just getting the communication direct from our intuition, especially connected to the water signs. I feel you guys are going to have that heightened aspect of the intuition where you're going to know what you need to do, what the deal is, and how to directly deal with it. So you know the bigger picture, but the ego might be directly interfering with you actually applying your energy, moving yourself forward, so that you can take that movement. Now, it is extremely important that you gain the clarity in this area. And the reason I'm saying that is because it is going to affect you for the next 20 to 30 years. And that is directly connected to the planets. I do suggest you go through and you listen to the Leo King. And have a bit of a listen to his spin on it as to how we're feeling. Now, it was interesting because, you know, I listened to it today and a lot of what he was explaining I'd already gone through. I was very much sitting there meditating upon situations and look, it could be anything from, you know, where I live to work, to my friendships, my spiritual connections, my romance, and really doing a 360 to a point where I was very much coming to realization of self. And that realization of self can be no longer being able to physically be anything or anyone that somebody else wants you to be, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but really just being your core self of who you are. Another aspect that came through in the information that he relayed in the video was very much on people. And again, I have had that this week where people are very much like, we need to make a decision right now. It's going to be very hard to make major decisions right now. Saturn direct is asking us to make harsh decisions. Now, that frequency is going to be here for a while, but it will be leaving. When it does, we don't want to leave it till, you know, the last bell, so to speak. So we feel this heightened intuition that we have to make a decision. Our higher self knows what we want. Our higher self knows what we want to do. How to apply that is another thing. And that's the complicated thing when some of those aspects are completely out of our control. So when it comes to making those major decisions, what you're going to need to do is realize what you have control over and what you're going to apply yourself to. Now, if you don't, that can mean if it's in your higher good, you will have a tower moment. So if it's a path you're meant to go down, and you know you're not listening to universe, there is the aspect of free will going on, but something in terms of a download is going to come about to give you an aha moment. So it doesn't have to be something ends. It's more, it's going to be an aha moment, so to speak, that you go, wow, you know, my intuition was telling me this and I thought I had all the time in the world. And then you're just going to be like, maybe I actually don't have all the time in the world after all. A lot of us are feeling that, in a sense that it's this heightened expectation that we really must make a decision ASAP. And that coming about is putting added pressure on us at the moment for us to make very, very solid, firm decisions for the future, especially with Saturn direct. Cancer, let's have a look at your read and see what's coming through for you guys. Now, you guys are meditating on a past tense situation. And again, there's going to be several stories coming through. Take what directly connects to you. Otherwise, feel free to look at your rising signs or book a private reading and I can tune into your energy. Now, it may be you're coming to a judgment point. Now, it's either people are judging you or you're judging a situation. I'm thinking of you. Okay, now, and again, it's ironic. I hadn't looked at the card and I was talking about tower moment. Now, the wake-up call, the aha, you guys are directly going to experience this. Now, it's already started transpiring, okay? So it already had been coming about, but it's like you're going to have that light bulb moment and go, right, I've got to make a judgment on this. Something's just not working, or the way I've been dealing with something isn't working. But you're going to make a judgment. Now, this judgment can be towards yourself, towards other people. Again, with Chiron there, it can be towards self. So you can be super judgmental towards yourself at the moment. The moon for you guys generally bodes well, but I'm feeling some stomach anxiety connected to the downloads of what you're experiencing. So it can be very anxious energy coming through. Try and ground yourself when it comes to it. Try and move through that frequency to get the download of what you need. Now, when I'm talking download, absorb the feelings you're having and process them. Try not to ignore them. That ignoring is going to cause a lot of conflict for you guys because a judgment in some aspect is coming through. You feel you're alone, but you're very guided and lighted, but you're not listening to your higher self. Your higher self is giving you the aha moment. And you've really got to go with the flow with this situation because there is going to be a judgment. Now, the judgment can be within your own power. It can be find forgiveness connected to what's transpired. Try not to judge yourself in a harsh term. If you need to, do it more from a processing point of view, not a self-attack point of view, especially with the earthbound energy moving in towards us. It's like utilize that energy to try and get grounded and see things from a different perspective. It might be seeing it from another person's perspective. It may be you have a friend or someone talking to you to sell reason to you. It may be you simply doing this to yourself because you are, you know, the moon works with you guys. Now, it may be regret connected to, you know, do I want this or do I want that? Am I putting too much energy here, or am I not putting enough energy in elsewhere? I'm not, for some of you, this can be a third party situation. Past tense, current, previous, however you want to look at it. But it's collective energy. So there's a few kind of messages coming through with this. There is the pain connected to past tense connections, 3 major situations that have happened in your life. Again, it can be within 3 weeks you will communicate and transmute this pain that you've experienced towards other people. It may be 3 individuals in which you have unfinished business with, and you need to directly tie up and make a judgment connected to those people. Now, it doesn't have to be that they're love interests. It can be loved ones, family members, work colleagues. However, it's going to directly relate to you, but it feels there's unfinished business and you're tying up those loose ends. I'm hearing you need to tie up those loose ends because your spirit needs to be free. Now, the freedom of that is going to be finding peace with your life so that you can move forward. There's a lot of pain here. Now, unfortunately, the pain has got to a point where it's spilled out. It's not bad that it's coming out. It's just, if you can keep yourself grounded while you're transforming, it's going to help it be more grounded. It may be that you are fearful to be open with an individual or with individuals about your true feelings and how critical you're being towards yourself. But I feel you need to kind of communicate these things so that you can get it off your chest, because carrying it is going to become toxic. There has been an injustice, and again, it can be you or another person, you or other situations, life in general. And again, this can be connected to a war times. But you definitely have a broken heart connected to a connection that was broken. Whatever has happened, now again, this can be past tense or it can be current. It can be like it's happening again, so to speak, and you're going, no, I don't want this to be happening again. It can be old energy or current energy. Regardless, it's coming up in your mind. Now, sometimes I'm seeing that this can be in the next week it comes in, but the moon is causing this effect to come through. It's like a wave. I'm seeing a wave through from here to the 5th, and then you're going backwards again. So try and process that energy. I feel you already are. I really do feel you're already thinking of these situations. Look, it can be that you're your own worst enemy, or people around you aren't treating you fairly, that life in general has been very unfair. Again, I'm feeling you're overwhelmed. I feel communication is key. I don't feel other people know quite how hurt or lost you had felt. And you're really questioning your self-worth at this point. It can be you're trying to, and again, I'm hearing throat chakra. You're using your intuition though, so it can be you're actually, how do I put it? 7, 8, 9. You're reaching an end of a karmic cycle. You're wanting to move something to the next level. You're wanting to have a sturdy, solid foundation. There's things that you are needing to let go of. It can be feelings, it can be emotions, it can be physical people, locations, jobs. There's things you fully know you need to let go of that don't connect to you. Now, if they don't connect to you, you will be letting them go. but it's finding the peace in that situation and communicating. And all week when I've tuned into Cancerians, I've seen three. And it's not just connected to the spiritual aspects of the Trinity. It's 3 weeks, 3 days, 3 years, 3 people. It's something connected to 3. Now, this can be connected to something that has just become hard work. It can also be connected to maybe if you're not working and feeling you don't want to do the work in an area any longer. This also can be connected to younger female figures. And a conversation in relation to that. It can be children as well, young and old. I'm seeing 2 individuals. I'm also seeing friendships directly connected to this. So it feels like it's, you feel everything is everywhere. So it can be family, it can be friends, it can be, you know, you feeling like life is getting old. You're getting older, you're looking at it like it's old. Also, your friendships are directly involved in this dynamic as well. So it's not just one area. It can be connected to a lover. I feel it can be for some of you third party. There is someone who's been very faithful towards you. This could be a lover. But I feel it's 2 people, but there are friendships involved. Yeah, you're choosing what you want out of love. I feel yours is past tense energy in your life. Now, somehow, some of these situations feels like they've impacted your life. So you had a plan in mind as to what you wanted your life to be, and it was definitely not complicated. Somehow along the way, it became complicated in some shape or form, and there's an aspect of regret connected to it. Many of you are opening up more so. You're balancing things out. Some of you are on the cusp of doing that. So it's like there's 2 groups coming through with the Cancer. One in which they're ready to, but they felt they had no right, or they didn't know quite if it was safe enough to do that, but they're feeling it's, from what I'm seeing in the reading, I feel spiritually for your sake it is necessary so that you can kind of dilute the energy to alleviate the stress. In order to gain clarity and move forward. It's like I'm hearing you're delaying an inevitable. You're delaying a conversation or a situation reaching a close. Now, Scorpio, there is an energy that is romantic around you. It can be a person who's younger. It can be a person who exhibits younger energies and frequencies. Now, you're in 2 minds. You're fantasizing about how things used to be, but you're definitely looking at the 3D of what it physically is right now, and you're going, okay, they're two very different pictures here. You know, I know what it used to be. I might have picked something else, and I jumped the gun, and now I'm going, okay, what the? There can be for you a few options. There can be also a limitation of options. So it depends on how you're looking at it. I'm hearing the glass half full, the glass half empty. Your perspective is changing. You're meditating upon what you want out of the bigger picture. Now, you want things to get off the ground and move. It can be people around you are being pushy, and you're like, I'm having my time. I'm doing this on my accord. I'm doing what I feel is correct. It can be that you're ready to actually have something very passionate and fiery, and you want to feel this great abundance of joy. There is going to be a celebration for you guys as well. Something is going to be victorious for you guys. It's through believing in yourself and transforming that this is coming about, but it is taking work. Some of you who have, how do I put it? You've offered love, but you feel you keep getting picked last. That's for a group of you. It's not all of you. It's like you've had this cup that you've tried to give to this person, and it's like you're always the last one on the list. Now, this can be connected to another water sign. Yeah. Some of you, this is connected to a fire sign. I'm seeing heavy fire and water. Again, you are so close. You're so close to a point where you're going to reach that point of a connection or reach that pinnacle of what you truly desire. It's like the door is right there. It's real strange. You're the second one that's had that. Old cycles are going to be tying up though. So the frequency and the way in which you're dealing with it, like Chris, it's going to change. It's like with Scorpio, the frequency of it, something major is changing. You're really using all your spiritual tools and all your lessons that you've had in life. You're really applying them, but you don't lose faith, okay? You're losing faith. I'm telling you, it's right there. You are going to be happy, okay? It's so close. It can be connected to romance. Whatever this is, you're going to be passionate about it. You need to set your intentions in your mind. Generally, it's best to do that not now. It's more a release right now. I feel it's something you've already done. This is more releasing anything that doesn't serve you. The block you're having is belief. Perhaps even clarity and believing that, you know, you can be number one, or that, you know, a knight in shining armor will come, however it directly relates, that you can get the job of a lifetime. It's like whatever's changing is happening, but you're just so close. What is correct for you is coming, and you're being asked to trust and take. But you've got to follow your instincts. You've got to follow your gut feelings. You guys are... something's going to come about without you even realizing. I do feel a lot of you have given up and you just focus directly on yourselves at the moment, and it's really going to do a 360 because you just physically were not expecting it. Pisces. Oh, okay. You guys are focused on love big time. Past tense, current, love. What you're passionate about, what you want. You're asking yourself what you love and what you want to put your energy into. You're also concerned about money as well. You know, what makes you whole? What makes you happy? Where, you know, I feel you've even gone off actually wanting to spend money. This isn't for all of you, but I'm feeling there's a reason. It's like you kind of in a bit lost your oomph. This may only be a frequency for a week for you guys, but it's concerns of cash. You're changing the focus. You're shifting the focus. You're very focused on love though. Like, and if you're not, this person's very focused on you. There's an energy of love energy around you. Very, very high. So if this is the frequency of what's coming towards you, it's very heavy on the love front. Try and keep the balance though. You know, if you get any trigger points this week, be careful with consumption, be it food, alcohol. You might feel a little bit more triggered. It might be you're being too strict or not balanced enough, but something's taking you undone. It's making you feel a bit, you know, imbalanced. some of the work that, you know, you're needing to do, you're like, have I done the shadow work? You know, is this an aspect of the shadow work, or is this just the ebbs and flows of astrology? You're not quite sure what it is. You feel you're in limbo. I'm seeing like a hangman energy. You're like, am I on hold? You're having faith in the situation, even when you don't. You know, you're like, it's still there. You don't know how it keeps happening, but you continue to have the faith. Even if people haven't been faithful towards you, you still have the faith connected to this situation because it hasn't ended. It just hasn't ended. There's some sort of an umbilical cord to a connection, to a life path. And you're tired of thinking about it. It's driving you batty. And again, you're like, you got the faith, you want it to go to that next level, but you're losing hope. It's like up and down, I'm saying. And you're tired of talking to people, you know. I'm hearing a song. Do I stay or do I go? Do I stay or do I go? I feel you guys intuitively have this sixth sense connected to this connection, this road, this path. You're intuitively feeling that what is going to change is going to come about in a very, very abrupt way. You're very concerned. For those of you who are tuning into romance, you're very concerned about this person. Very concerned. But you need to get grounded. You definitely need to get grounded. It feels easier to focus on them at times because the frequency of how it's changed you, at times it's like you guys are looking in the mirror. You try and get grounded, guys. I know you're worried, but try and get grounded. Any questions before I run along and do the air signs? Okay, if the soulmate is married to a narcissist, well, look, if they're in a connection, they're choosing that. We're in a karmic cycle at the moment. We are going into Venus retrograde. Be in your truth, but don't, well, I spiritually wouldn't, but you've got to choose what's right for you. I mean, this is what the energy is at the moment. We're not to judge. So whoever the person's with, if they're dealing with adversity, they spiritually have the power to deal with that adversity themselves. Now, going into the aspect and feeling for them through a compassionate, it's a bit like a doctor having compassion for the patient and having a spiritual connection with them. It's, if you're coming in as a support, you're physically a support. If you interact the two, it's going to cause a complication. Regardless, narcissist or married, if they're connected, it's causing a complication. I mean, we don't have to judge who the person is. If they're doing something of a particular nature, it can be due to karmic frequencies. It depends on what you deem as such. I mean, unless I was giving you a reading and tuning into it and tuning into the person, it's probably a bit of a biggie, so to speak. But look, if the person's directly connected, number one, let's not put a tag on it. Connected is connected. They're choosing a path. They've chosen a path. Being there and being authentic to self would assist with you being as grounded as possible. Allowing them to resolve that conflict is necessary, especially in twin flame connections, because when what tends to happen in a twin flame connection, and a lot of the reasons why twins tend to have the in and the out, is because we're trying to steer the ship where we feel it should go. Okay, so when we do that, that directly impacts the flow of it. If we could just spiritually be there and allow them to interact and deal with the conflict themselves, but spiritually support, we're more in alignment with each other because we're trusting in the process of us evolving naturally. But if you're pushing or trying to guide a situation, it actually extends the journey. So you might as well go, that's yours, you deal with it, I'm here, I understand. And keep it as simple as possible. You can understand, but try not to. Do you know what I mean? Any ideas on the most productive way to handle Look, spiritually speaking, where we are this year is very interesting. And the reason I'm saying that is because this is a very heightened time for soulmate twin flames. There's mass transformations going on. If anything, we're getting an absolute bitch slap in the face, and I'll just be very frank. What do you want? In theory, if you're a twin, this is going to be the most enlightened time to gain clarity on that. Now, your twin is either going to evolve or forcefully be evolved. So regardless of whether you're walking on that journey alone or they're joining you, transformation is going to happen whether they want it or not. So if you continue to do the work spiritually on yourself, you will be aligned correctly to what is destined to be. Much of what this is right now is very much a choice, but some of it is physically not. Some of it is part of your spiritual growth and your destiny, so to speak. So some of it is, some of it isn't. If it's to be, and you were at a younger age, if they were in and out, and you in fact wish to have children, if you were then to put the light on and wait for your twin, many twins would miss having children. If it's divinely guided and you were to meet a soulmate at a younger age, especially for the third wavers, that person has been put there spiritually for you to be with. Now, you would have chosen that person would have chosen you for their growth. So a lot of people look at it and they go, oh, so if you're supposed to be with twin, how could you have a connection? Well, number one, I never knew I was a twin till about 1.5 years ago, 2 years. I knew I had a spiritual connection with my twin. There was very deep knowing, like I knew the person before. So it wasn't I had an expectation connected to it or I was trying to fit myself into a box with it. But spiritually, the connection was so strong. It was almost like, how would you put it? Can't be without them. Like it just doesn't feel natural. And I would say the feeling is probably similar to an addiction, apart from the fact that I'd had relationships and been able to leave them. So the ironic thing is when you look at a codependent relationship, it's yes and no. The karmic energy within the twin connection is similar to such, but it's not the same. And the reason I'll say that is because you experience something with another person and you're able to resolve that and you can flow correctly. Then when you're with twin, very different. Now, if theoretically you were a codependent human being at a very high level, you would be like that with any person you're with. But it's not. It's very separate with this one particular individual, which is generally twin. So if ongoingly you have had, that aspect of you're the rescuer or, you're the victim or, those dynamics within codependent dynamics. I mean, it can be in varying degrees. We all hold it. What you'll find is in a twin connection, it's very different. The shit you put up with is amazing. But you repel each other, but you connect with each other. You spiritually have this little dance that goes on. Yet people look at you and go, you're definitely together, aren't you? And you could be at opposite sides of the room. People just spiritually can see the connection. You loathe each other, but you love each other. It's a very unique experience, but spiritually you really do grow to a point where it does help you grow up and come into your own. So, you know, when you learn about the aspects of the twin flame journey, it does, like, a lot of people are like, I want to be a twin. I can tell you, I don't know one person who's been in a twin flame journey that now is aware of it that goes, I want to be a twin. It is the hardest path in your life to be a twin. I mean, I feel very blessed that in this lifetime I met my twin, but at times I feel it has been a frigging curse, because you are literally emotionally dragged through the coals to grow up. I mean, and it's your spirit. It's not the person physically. It's your spiritual growth of, you know, the fact that you're bearing yourself to this person. You're really having a huge awakening. So it's a very different frequency to that of a different relationship. Definitely soulmate connections can be very deep. And many people, if they romanticize it, you're missing the point. It's a spiritual transformation. Yes, I do truthfully believe you could have full union with twin, but if twin can't make it, you may be at a portion of that journey really walking on your own. And if you're deeply connected to your spiritual growth, especially in 2018 with your transformation, once you've evolved as a human being, regardless of whether you choose to, you know, be open to that, you're changing regardless. You can't stop that transformation. It's an aspect of your life path. So it's something you can't quit. So if you even tried to go back to who you were before, it's impossible. And a lot of the times in the twin flame journey, you look at it and, you know, people are talking about how life has changed in relationships. Theoretically, when you understand how big and how much you can love a human being, twin connections show you how much you can unconditionally love a person regardless of who they're with, because it's not about an ownership thing. It's very much about the fact that you can look at that person and say, hey, that person can be with another human being, and if they get married, I love them. I love that person. And if they're happy with that person, I'm very happy for them. You know, and still, you know, in your heart, really, truly mean it. And they could have, initially, if you drag through the coals, you will feel like shit and really have deep, deep feelings and emotions about it and purge that, and at times probably hate their bloody guts. But then come back to that energy of going, I unconditionally love you. It's insane. It really is insane. But it's the biggest means in which human beings can physically learn that just because you're a naughty boy or a naughty girl, you can't be loved. What a load of shit. We're humans and we are all very, very flawed. Very flawed. So it's like if somebody passes over, this is the way I explain it to my daughter. She has a connection at the moment, and her I explained love to her, and she said to me, what if he doesn't love me? And I went, listen, your boyfriend could be on Mars. If he loves you, he loves you. It doesn't matter where he is, who he's hanging out with, who he's mingling with, because the control we hold in relationships these days is, where are you going? When are you going to be back? Who are you talking to? No, you can't talk to that person. You're married. You can't do that. We've got to bath the kids tonight. You need to come home. Expectation, expectation. Now, understanding and love and connection is you do that because you choose to, not because it's what has to be. Now, when you have a loved one that's passed over to the other side, they're not with you, but you still love them. So it's the same thing. How can I tell if my connection is karmic, soulmate, or twin flame? Okay, well, it's a bit of all of them, really. And the hard part is at the moment, a portion of your twin flame journey will be karmic. It will be karmic energy till it transfers into a point where they have come into wholeness within self. If you have physically come into wholeness with self, twin will be following suit shortly after, and you are in duality. And when you're in duality, you do that soul merge. When that soul merge comes, the potential for union is there. And I'm going to leave it at that, and I will get back to the air signs. Otherwise, feel free to book a reading, and I will tune into your situation. Otherwise, we'll leave those conversations for On the Couch with Yildiz when I launch them. And I'll talk to you guys soon.